What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a first for the channel, and that is a Nouvelle deck profile. Now the Nouvelles are a ritual based art type that does involve some fusion and ritual monsters as well, that gives you the ability to tribute off your opponent's monsters. Now it is all based around the Hungry Burger card, which is one of the featured rituals in this deck. And it is a way to get your Hungry Burger out and then get additional effects if you do summon it, which is great success. Theme is all based off of a restaurant, and of course it is French themed. So I do apologise if I butcher any of the names. I can barely do English properly, so being the French names is going to be very, very interesting. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Now these are all expected to be reprinted in the most recent Megatins of 2024, so it's definitely a deck you could be looking into picking it up, but I was able to pick up pretty much the core relatively cheaply in mainly a trade as well. So we're going to start off with your main normal summon for, of course, the Nouvelles as well, and that is the Poissonnière. Now the Poissonnière is your ideal summon because this one will get you into the ability to add a level 1 ritual monster or a recipe card from the deck to the hand. Now that is of course going to get you into your Bouillon base, which is your ideal level 1 ritual monster. Before we go too far into the ritual monsters, your other ideal normal summon will of course be Diviner, because Diviner can get you into a ritual monster or a ritual spell by sending Herald of the Arclight from the extra deck, but it can also send Trius from the deck to the graveyard, and in doing so what that will allow you to do is Trius contribute off the Diviner, summon itself back, and because Diviner was tributed, you'll be able to get a level 1 fairy from the deck, which of course your Poissonnière is. So that's how you can kind of get those into rotation, and that's how you're going to be able to trigger off the effect. So in theory, you're technically playing 6 copies of your Poissonnière, and once you get your Poissonnière plus any of your ritual spells, that's when you're going to end up with your 2-card combo for the deck that ultimately ends up with you being able to get your Bar Grill, which is your main mini boss monster in a sense, that will allow you to tribute off all of your opponent's monsters, which is very, very powerful. So now that we've gone through our main summons of the deck, now let's talk you through the rituals. So your Bouillon base is of course this one that could be ritual summoned with any recipe card, and if it is special summoned you get to excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do you get to add an excavated Nouvelles card from your card to your hand and shuffle the rest into the deck. When a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, you gain a quick effect to tribute this card and 1 attack position monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 2 or 3 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. You can only use the effect once per turn. Now obviously all of them share that exact same effect of the ability to tribute and to summon the next one up, and this is going to allow you to get into your Confière. Now your Confière obviously of course again could be ritual summoned with any recipe, but if it is special summoned you get to target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it, and then when a card or effect again is activated that targets it or targets it for an attack, you get to tribute this card and 1 attack position monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 3 or 4 Nouvelle. So the level 3 you could go into will of course be your Polité. The Polité, again, if it is special summoned, you get to draw a card, and then its ability, again, to tribute a Nouvelle monster you control and a tap position monster on the field, and this will allow you to special summon a level 4 or 5. So you can kind of see how they're kind of ramping themselves up. So level 4 you're going to want to go to is going to be your Faux Glacier. Now this one again is if it is special summoned, you get to target up to 3 cards in any graveyard and shuffle them into the deck. So obviously by the time you've gone through this, you've possibly gone through 1, 2, maybe even 3 in order to do so. So you're just going to be able to recycle them, which is really, really important. Then of course this will allow you to special summon a level 5 or 6, and that's when you really start cooking. Minus the pun. So this will get you into probably your best one, and this one does look absolutely amazing by the way. So this is your Ballonnière. Now your Ballonnière has the ability that you get to add a Nouvelle or a recipe card from the deck to the hand when it is special summoned. You get to target a tap position monster your opponent controls, tribute it, and if you do, you special summon a level 6 ritual monster from the hand or deck, and it is a quick effect if this was special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelles monster, which more times than not it probably will do, and that's going to let you get into your Bal Grill. Now by able to get into your Bal Grill, this is the one that's going to get you everything you need to. So you get to negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent controls until the end of the turn. Then if this card was special by the effect of a Nouvelle monster, you get to tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. Quick effect, target 1 attack position monster your opponent controls, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a Hungry Burger from the deck. Now obviously your Hungry Burger isn't going to have any effects on top of that, and it's not exactly the strongest monster. But the idea is that as you've worked your way up from a 2-card combo, you've worked your way all the way up through all of your Nouvelles, you've recycled them, you've drawn more cards, you've tributed off all of your monsters as you've gone, and tribute off all your opponent's monsters as you've gone. You've pretty much negated them and then cleared them off. So there's very little they're going to be able to do. So that's it for the Nouvelle ritual monsters. The only other ritual monster we play is the one Benten, because being able to tribute at level 6, of course also being able to send this off of the back of something like your Diviner, can increase its level to a level 8 should you need to. And then, of course, we do play 3 of the Culinary Confrontation. So this card's actually insane. I would have loved to have seen this in the original set, because as a super, it probably would look amazing. So you'll also notice that on the artwork, it's, of course, got the Passonnière, but it also has the Pasticciel, which, of course, is the Fusion Pendulum monster. And the reason for that is you get to choose a Nouvelle's Pendulum monster and a Pasticciel Pendulum monster from your hand, deck, and/or extra deck, and special summon both monsters, 1 to each field. Also, this turn you cannot use monsters for materials for a Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, or Link, except Nouvelles and Pasticciel monsters. During your main phase, you get to banish this card from the graveyard, target a face-up monster on the field. It gains 200 attack for each recipe card in the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So the idea is you give your opponent a monster, that guarantees that they're going to have a face-out attack position monster on the field that you contribute to start your combo going turn 0. For the ritual spells, we play 2 fish recipe and 2 meat recipe. So for the fish recipe, it can be used to ritual summon any Nouvelle's ritual monster, and you must also tribute monsters from the hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. Then if you ritual summoned your Boye base, which of course is going to be very important that it actually lists that card specifically, because that's where preparation of rites is going to come into a play, you then get to have the additional effect to add a recipe ritual spell from the deck or graveyard to the hand except itself. So that's how you're going to be able to get into your meat recipe. This one can be used to ritual summon any Nouvelle monster, and again, if you ritual summoned a Confière, which of course is the level 2, you get to apply the effect that all defensive monsters your opponent controls currently get switched to attack, which is obviously going to set you up for being able to tribute them off in order to climb up with your rituals. Then of course we do play 2 of today's menu, and the reason we're only playing 2 is it is a hard once per turn, sadly, but you can play 3 if you want to. You reveal 2 Nouvelle monsters with different names from your deck, your opponent chooses one of them to add to your hand, and you shuffle the other into the deck. And then you get to add one of these cards from your deck or graveyard to the hand based on the monster that monster type that was added to your hand by this effect. If it was a Beast Warrior, you get to add the fish recipe. If it's a warrior, you get to add the meat recipe. So obviously when you're going back and looking at all of your ritual monsters, just as I clear this up slightly, you'll have a look that they're all warriors and then beast warriors as well. So depending on which one that you get added will then allow you to get the ritual spell for the one that you're going to need. So it's a 2 for 1 basically, which is really cool. And then we've got one of the field spell, which is the Nouvelles Restaurant at Table. So when this card is activated, you get to add a recipe card from the deck or graveyard to the hand. And then once per turn, you get to place a ritual monster from your hand onto the bottom of the deck, draw 1 card. And then during the end phase, you get to target 2 cards in your graveyard, including a recipe card, place them on the bottom of the deck, and then draw 1 card. So the idea is it's your draw power, it's your recycle power, and it obviously has the ability to add a recipe card, so it gives you your access to your ritual spells should you need to. And ideally with most of your Nouvelle cards, you want them in the deck, because that's how you're going to summon them out. You very rarely want to hard ritual them, apart from the Boyo base and the Confière. And then of course we've got triple preparation of rites, so obviously these can all search out your fish and meat ritual spells, as well as going for your Boyo base and of course your Confière. 1 Call by the Grave to deal with pesky hand traps, and then I am playing the Dogmatika package, but you can cut this out completely. So triple Nadir Servant, 1 Ecclesia, 1 Maximus, and then of course the 1 Schism. Now obviously the idea of this 6 card engine is because most of your Nouvelles are, of course, dark monsters, you're able to set up the window lock very easily. So not only does your opponent need you to deal with you ranking up your ritual monsters, but they then also need to deal with the possibility that once you've tributed off all of their monsters and cleared them with pretty much nothing, you can window lock them as well. Now, obviously you don't need to window lock them, but the idea is you don't really need to rely on your extra deck, so activating the DR7 is massively helpful. Maximus can help you send a fairy from the extra deck, but it can also help you send your Herald of the Arc Light, and in doing so, by sending your Herald of the Arc Light, you'll then be able to search out a ritual monster should you need to. So it just allows you to grow and grow your route of play and your consistency should you need to. It is entirely a flexible engine. You take these 6 cards out. There can be 6 hand traps, it can be imperms, it can be ash blossoms, it can be more aggressive cards if you want to go down the board breaker route. But honestly, I thought that these were just a really kind of cool power play 1 card, because being able to activate this can get you a ritual monster to the hand if you want more draws. It can get you a ritual spell to the hand if that's what you're missing. But like I said, it also sets you up your window plays, it sets you up discard fodder, putting you recipes in the graveyard for the field spell. It's just an all-round very good card. And then, of course, for the last two Nouvelle cards we play, is the one Staff Recipe, is a continuous trap card. Target a ritual monster you control, special on a Nouvelle's token, Fiend Dark level 1. This card, this token's level becomes the same as that monster that you targeted. You get to send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to ritual summon a Nouvelle's ritual monster from the hand by treating monsters from your hand or field whose total level is equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. And you can only use each effect once per turn, but the idea is this just allows you to ritual during your opponent's turn. And the last one we have is the counter trap of your chef's special recipe. So when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated while you control a Nouvelle ritual monster, negate the activation and then you get to destroy that card if you control a monster that was special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelle's monster. If you special summon Hungry Burger, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, which is absolutely insane. So obviously the idea is, throughout your combo, if you're able to set up the chef's recipe, not only do you have an Omni Negate, you're going to be climbing up through all of your ritual monsters. You're then going to be able to banish this and tribute off all of their monsters. So even if you don't need to shotgun the window lock early doors, you can actually hold back the window lock. That if they're able to just continue to keep going, you're just going to go, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just going to window lock you and then go from there. So that's it for the entire main deck. Like I said, there is flexibility here. I feel the Nouvelles are pretty much set as they are. Sometimes you'll play some of them at 2, some of them at 1s. Very rarely will you want to play any of them at 3, apart from the Passonnière. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, we do play 2 of the Pastiel. So this one is very irrelevant on its effect, but if this card is in the monster zone, it's destroyed, you get to place this card into the Pendulum Zone. Annoyingly, it has to be destroyed. Like, if it was just like, if it's been tributed, cool, put it into the extra monster, put it into your Pendulum Scale, good to go. And then basically everything else is just going to be mainly send fodder. So you've got your 2 Natisses that can obviously be sent off a Diviner, but can also be sent off in the Deer. You've of course got your Shadow package in the one app clone and the one Winder. You could play a second Winder, as most people feel or know that most people only ever play 1. So when they get rid of the first Winder, they don't really worry about second. But as long as you have another Dark and then you'll have the Winder in the graveyard, you can schism again and summon out a second Winder. Carrying on, of course, the other cards you're going to want to be sending will, of course, be your Herald of the Arclight. So this is how you're going to be able to search out a ritual monster or a ritual spell. Then for the Link monsters, of course, we do play the one Relinquish Anima, because sometimes the level 1 into an Anima, if your opponent has been a little bit lazy, can cost them dearly. Then for the Link 2s, of course, we've got the one IP Masquerena, the one Cross Sheep, because you're able to actually set up fusion monsters on this one, which is really kind of cool. So you can actually go for a fusion monster and then bring back one of your level 4 or lowest from the graveyard, which of course could be a... I believe they can bring back a Nouvelle, because as long as you have successfully ritual summoned them, not special summoned them, then you're in a good position. Your Dynamondo, followed up by the Nephis. This is the Link monster that is basically all around, or gets better with ritual monsters involved. So it requires 2 monsters, including a ritual monster. And then while this card is in the extra monster zone, monsters your opponent controls cannot target Nephis monsters in the main monster zone for attacks. This card gains effects based on the number of ritual monsters used for its Link summoning. 1 or more, it cannot be destroyed by battle. 2 or more, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it gains 1200, so it goes up to a 36. And then 3 or more, neither player can target this card with card effects, and it gains an additional 1200, so it becomes a 4800 base boss monster. And the last 2 cards for the extra, of course, is the SP Little Knight and the Chaos Angel. Obviously, these are a little bit more expensive. They're a bit more flexible. This one can become a Nightmare Unicorn. It's basically just your option to come off the back of your IP Masquerena. And then the Chaos Angel, if you're not going to be playing Trius, you don't need to play this. And if you're not going to be playing this, then of course you open up your space for playing something like an Underworld Goddess. Or of course you could play any other kind of flex card you wanted to. Maybe even an access code if you wanted to go down that route as well. And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is very much it. Straight to the point on the Nouvelle profile. Apologies if I did butcher any of the names. I do love the artwork of all of these cards, because obviously they're all like food dishes, and it's like the spirit of the food is summoned from it. And then of course you've got like the whole story behind it with the chef, and then of course the Poissonnière, which you can see in the fish recipe as well. So I just really do like the artwork on this one. I think it's really kind of cool. It was one of the ones that I kind of felt that some of the ultra rares were a little bit too expensive. They kind of dipped in price, and then when I found out that technically you could play 2 today's menu and 1 of the field spell, it made it a little bit cheaper and easier to justify putting together a fun deck like this. So I can't wait for all of the reprints in the Megatins of 2024, because I definitely feel that even if they get upgraded, it'll be a really kind of cool deck to look into. And the fact that not a lot of people know what it does, the fact that it tributes rather than destroying can be massively damaging. And it's definitely something that can give you a fighting edge, which is really kind of cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you have any questions at all, by all means, please let me know in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.